I'm currently on the phone with Max. He's another musician that reached out about the current interview sessions. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Max MacVeety, and I'm a drummer and producer and mix engineer here in Los Angeles. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm originally from Massachusetts. I lived in Oakland for a while, and yeah, just doing the music thing here in LA right now.
All right, sounds good. So let's talk about that. Tell me about, when what age were you when you kind of first found music, and how did it kind of reach into your life? What about it made you want to pursue it?
Oh, well, I was really lucky. My dad is a musician. So I was going to his gigs in the womb. So that's really what started it. My parents, would always bring me to his gigs. So I'd be like little toddler, at a bar listening to my dad's band. It was like blues and funk and R&B and stuff. So it was immediate. I think by the time I was 3, I was showing enough interest that my dad got me like bought a drum, like a snare drum, and I think it was just a snare drum and a bass drum off of one of his drummers. So, yeah, I just got started young. I was around it, I would jam with my dad. It was just kind of something I did that was fun.
Okay, so you kind of grew up in that environment. Were you ever encouraged to do like private lessons or anything, or was it all kind of handled in house?
Well, actually, by the time I was 8, I got interested in private lessons, and I grew up in Western Massachusetts, so not too far from Boston, and the name Berklee College of Music was always kind of in the air. It's this a lot of uh, guys that my dad played with went to Berklee, and then I ended up studying with a drummer that went to Berklee when I was 8. So, but up until then, it was all just like jamming with my dad. That's just learning by watching and listening and stuff.
Okay, and so did you do like band in school at all, or did you just keep it, to at that point? I assume I'm just gonna call it a hobby.
Yeah. So I was kind of turned off by the music program at school because I had already been going to clubs and bars and hearing, bands play, and the school band was just kind of playing hokey music. So
Sure.
I just was like, yeah, I'm not into this. So I didn't get into it until high school, when I, applied to Berkeley and was thinking, oh, this will look good on my resume. And then also I just was like, at that point in my life, I was just a sponge. I was just like, teach me anything. And so, yeah, so I got into the high school band. I think it was I did my junior year and senior year.
Okay, so before we talk about Berkeley, just a kind of quick tangent question. What do you think it was about the music you were exposed to growing up in the bar scene and things like that that had such an impact on you versus orchestral music, what you would find in concert band?
I think mostly it was exposure, right? So I grew up going to bars and nightclubs and seeing that interaction between the band and the audience, people dancing and just like joyous, it just brought everyone together, and it was just a vibe, and everyone was happy and having a good time. And, so I was immediately impacted by that. And, I'd never been to like a symphony orchestra or I wasn't exposed to that type of music be um to be into it, I guess. um yeah, but also, like in elementary school, this stuff is even the like sort of symphonic stuff is so basic. It just, I don't know, I was turned off by it. But then hit high school and was like, oh shit, I gotta learn. I have all this shit to learn. I've got to play catch up.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So at some point, you made the ambition or the decision to have the ambition to go to Berkeley and pursue
Yeah.
that. What was
Yeah.
it like, kind of prepping for that, and then going through the audition process, and where did that take you?
So, oh, it's actually an interesting story. I I was really into music when I was younger, up until about 10 or 11 years old. And then I just kind of got into playing baseball and just being a kid and kind of left the music thing to the side. I played, but I wasn't as into it. And then when I hit high school, I was like, oh, I intentionally wanted to get back into music. I started taking like a music class during the day and really wanted to get into it. And then I think it was the end of my sophomore year, the drummer in the jazz band broke his wrist snowboarding, and they needed a drummer to fill in as quick as they could. And the band director kind of was like, I know who your dad is. I know you play drums. Do you think you could fill in? And so I filled in, and part of what was happening is the band was going to Boston to be in this like high school jazz band festival at Berkeley. So it was sort of this like these set of circumstances that put me in this position to be. And I'll never forget the day. I was 16 years old. I was sitting in Heinz Convention Center watching this high school band just kill it. I was like, holy shit! Like what? Watching a drummer my age just killing these songs. And in that moment, I was like, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. Yeah. So it was this series of events that, unfortunately for my friend, he broke his wrist. But for for me, it kind of set me on this path of like it was sort of an epiphany. Like, oh, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And then I hadn't been taking drum lessons from my drum teacher, and I immediately got in touch with him and was just asking him as many questions as possible because he went to Berkeley.
Okay, so you kind of had a guiding hand of what to expect to, be able to submit an application to go and everything.
Definitely. He helped me, yeah, tremendously, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take the next step there. Let's go through, obviously you submitted your application, you got accepted, you went.
Right. Right.
Tell me about life there.
So I loved it. I mean, it was like when I got to Berkeley, I immediately felt like I like found my tribe. Like I found people that I could relate to, just 100%, because it was all musicians that were just excited about what they were doing. All we did is talk about music, and it was one of those things where I wasn't sure, like, people always kind of warn you like, oh, are you sure you want to go to music school? That's all you're going to do. Maybe when you go, you won't be as into it, cause it'll be too much. But for me, when I got there, it was just like, yes, every day I was just like, hell yeah. I loved it. Yeah. I loved my classes. I met a bunch of like my now best friends and, joined band. I did it all.
Okay, so bring us up to where you are now. What happened after Berkeley to get you to where you are now?
So, well, kind of side note, the band that I joined in at Berkeley was a punk ska band called Big D and the Kids Table, which went on to, put out records and do Warp Tour and stuff. And I played with them for 4 years and put out 2 albums with them. Yeah. And then when I graduated Berkeley, I left that band to join a band in Oakland called Crown City Rockers, which is a live hip hop band. I started getting obsessed with hip hop when I was at Berkeley and, in Boston. And so luckily I had some friends that had started this live hip hop band that moved to Oakland. And I moved out there. I got on like a Greyhound, like a bus, 3 days, and showed up in Oakland. And that's what brought me to the West Coast. And that band put out well, 3 records, 3 full length. We toured for 11 years and opened up for a bunch of our heroes like Mos Def and Talib Kweli and Jurassic 5 and Diggable Planets and stuff. And yeah, Black Eyed Peas. So we had, a great run for like 11 years. And then after that, that started to slow down, and I started a duo. It was just me and a DJ. We were called Skins and Needles. And we just, did like hip hop type stuff. And then we got hired by this rapper from Oakland, from the Bay. His name is Lyrics Born. And me and my DJ friend, DJ Zeph, we had our duo that would back up this MC. So I did that for a while, and then I got a call out of nowhere from this guy named Carl Denson, he's like in the jam band world. He's right now, currently, he's the sax player for the Rolling Stones, but he has his own band that's like funk type stuff. So I toured with Carl for like 2 years, and then I started getting into production and got my own little studio lockout space in Long Beach. That's where I was living, and did a lot more production stuff. I play right now. I play in I'm doing less touring because I'm married and just had a little baby girl in January. So thank you. So I'm more doing like corporate stuff right now on the weekends, and then my wife and I moved up to Van Nuys, and my new studio is in North Hollywood. So I'm, currently just, gigging freelance drummer around LA and doing studio sessions at my studio.
Awesome. That's great. That's the best place to be for it.
Exactly. Yeah. I was in Long Beach for a while, and it was cool. I thought I was close enough to LA, but it's a lot better being kind of more in the mix here,
Absolutely. So you mentioned you're doing like corporate and then also session work as well as production, I assume, obviously. Do you have a bunch of bands coming in and recording those and producing them?
I mostly work with artists. So, a singer will come in with an idea, and I'm a drummer first and foremost, and I really don't play other instruments all that well, so I really, if an artist comes in, I'll find the pocket of what they may sing a little idea to me, or they'll have something recorded, and I'll figure out the pocket and the feel of it. And then I have a bunch of great musician friends that I get to play on it, and then I'll edit and mix and do that whole thing. So that's the process with like artists that come in here. And then I also will play drums to tracks and send. A lot of that's like remote work, someone will send me a song and they'll send me 2 versions, one with the drums in it, one without, and they'll say, record to that, and I'll either send them raw stems or I'll mix the drums if they want that as well. So
it sounds like you're doing pretty well at it if you're able to commit to that full time.
Well, so far so good. That's for sure.
Good. Fingers crossed. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me about, you told some stories there, but tell me about some of the most prominent memories you have that kind of keep you motivated to continue doing it.
Oh man. There's so much. I would say overall, I've just been able to travel the world and see places that I never thought I'd see, just because I play drums. And that to me is it's just mind blowing. Like I'll never get over that. You know what I mean? That'll never just be normal, especially now that I'm doing less touring. I look back, I toured for 25 years straight, and I look back on it. I'm like, wow, I've been to Japan a few times and Bali, Indonesia. I have memories of driving a scooter through rice fields and just monkey temples and just stuff where you're just like, wait, what? How am I here? Oh, because I play drums. Okay, you
That's
know.
awesome.
Yeah, so I've been to every state in the United States, played in every single state, including Alaska and Hawaii, and just have gotten to see so much from that. And yeah, it's been amazing. I feel really lucky.
Yeah, that's amazing that you have gotten that opportunity. I like to wish the best for everybody. So I hope anybody that wants and aspires to that also gets that opportunity. And it's very
Absolutely.
refreshing to hear when somebody is looking at it from the other side, was able to live it, and then still
Right.
has such a good attitude about it, like you do.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
so, what are like your social media links? Where can people find you, or order some session work, or whatever you got going on?
Oh yeah. So actually I have a website and it's maxmacveety.com. So MAXMAC as in Victor EETY.com. A lot of stuff is on that. And then Instagram is max underscore MacVeety underscore music. And Facebook is Max MacVeety, and TikTok, I think it's just Max MacVeety. I think it's all there. On Instagram, I have one of those like link tree things that kind of will take you all the places. So that probably Instagram is the best place to go as a takeoff point, because I have links to like I made a playlist in Spotify of all the records that I've played on, and then another playlist of all the production stuff I've done. And I'm trying to get organized so people can find me.
Perfect. All right. Well, so I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So, what's a message that you have that you want to share with people?
And I just would say, if you have a passion for something, it can be anything. For me, it happened to be music, but really follow it and do it 100%, because just amazing stuff will come from it. You'll see.